Hi, my name is David and welcome to my YouTube channel. The purpose of this channel is to allow me to grow in different ways as I'm following various YouTubers. My goal right now is to learn about communication, and so I am following a YouTuber whose name is Vinh Giang, and he is a absolutely fantastic communicator. I highly recommend that you go and check him out if you have the opportunity. I'll have a link to his YouTube channel down in the description below. He also has some courses that you can purchase, although I haven't done any of those. My goal right now is to go through what he's posted for free, and then if it looks like it turns into a good opportunity, I may actually take him up on one of the courses that he's doing. With that being said, I am going through one of the exercises that he recommends doing, which is kind of a 4-step process, and I added kind of a 5th one onto it. The first step was to speak or read from a book, which I've chosen Henry V, and I'm reading a speech from that. And you go through 4 different ways of reading it. The first way is called the siren technique, and you start out by starting really down low and then working your way up, and as you're reading you end up way up here, and then you come back down again until you end up back down at the lower end. Okay, and I did that as my first time going through this, and I learned a lot about how to use the pitch as you're going through and using that as a way to engage the audience. Second thing that we did was we looked at the speed and how fast you're talking versus how slowly you're talking, and how speed can actually change the way that people think about and engage with you. The third way that we looked at was volume, or was it volume? Yeah, volume. And so we talked about how going from very, very quiet kind of makes people lean in a little bit. And then if you're going to be talking loudly, then you're getting people's attention very quickly. And you don't want to stay at one volume necessarily, but kind of use it as a way to pull people in at times and then to expound on an idea at other times. The fourth thing that we did was we looked at emotion and how changing your face and kind of your posture and the way that you communicate with yourself with your face can change the way you come across in your speech as well. So if you want to come across as very sad, if you put on a sad expression and you start to think about kind of what you're talking about in a very sad way, and all of a sudden you might actually communicate that idea just a little bit more. Or if you're just super happy and just so vibrant, you're like, whoa, something just amazing happened and you guys have to check this out. You know, it changes the way that you're thinking, and so it actually communicates to other people what your expression is communicating. So with that being said, I'm coming to the 5th video in this series, which is to pull it all together and see if I can do something with this particular speech that is much better than the base version that I started with, which if you want to, you can go back to the very first video in this particular series to check that out. That's where I just read it completely flat. I wasn't trying to do anything special with it. And so now I'm going to be trying to go from that to something where I'm pulling all of those different things together and hopefully doing something kind of interesting. I will be the first to say I have not mastered any of these techniques. And so this is just after going through this exercise one time. Hopefully, as I continue to grow as a communicator, I'll be able to come back to this in the future, and maybe in the future I'll come back, I'll redo this and do a comparison of how this video goes versus in the future sometime when I get to that point. Okay, so with that, let's just jump right in. Again, this is the Battle of Agincourt, and the idea is that the British are surrounded by a much greater host and bigger army, and they're going to be attacked very soon. King Henry is trying to encourage and kind of give them kind of the boost that they need to get into battle. And Westmoreland, he's kind of responding to someone he knows named Westmoreland at this point. So let's start with that. Got to get into the mindset here. All right, and this is my first take, so hopefully I only have to do one. I'm trying to remember siren technique, speed, volume, emotion. Oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England that do no work today. King Henry. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair coz, if we are marked to die, we are now to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my coz, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honor as one man more, methinks, would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is Saint Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeves and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian, shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to review it, see how I did. I was curious whether or not I would end on a big, booming, loud sound or whether I should go down to more of a quieter one. And I decided to go for the rousing finish. But it is a little awkward to do that when there's not much of a crowd and not much reaction. And so speaking into a camera definitely changes how you perceive your communication. That is something else I'm trying to learn right now. And so I hope that you will let me know what you think about this whole thing down in the comments, and I'm hoping I'm doing better as I progress. Again, just focusing on communication, I'll move into learning about editing and camera stuff and making videos more interesting in the future. All right, that being said, let's take a look at the review. Okay, I'm back from the review, and definitely a big difference between what I did at the very beginning, kind of with that base version of everything, and then what I was able to read and how I read it just now. I think there's a few things I could have done better. I could have changed my pitch a little bit more. I seem to have more of a kind of a steady pitch instead of going from down here and then working my way up a little bit and then coming all the way up to here and then coming back down again. It might have been more engaging if I had taken in a little bit more thought just to how I use my pitch throughout that entire thing. The next thing that I think I did that I probably could have done a little bit better with is pausing. I didn't pause very often. I think I could have had much more kind of a dramatic effect in certain areas if I had taken the time to slow down, pause, and then move on from there and kind of actually have more of a contrast in the speed. That was one of the things that I didn't do very well the first time, and I think I could have done better in this one as well. So next time that I do this, I think that I plan to just try to be a little bit more vibrant throughout the entire thing. And part of this is that I'm a little bit tired today. I was up until 2 in the morning with my son, and so I don't have quite the same energy levels that I normally would. In fact, I had to do an exercise before this to help me kind of get myself up and moving. Another one of Vinh Giang's exercises. I'll be putting out a video to show what I did kind of after this one. With all that being said, definitely a huge improvement over the base, and so I'm quite pleased. I definitely want to come back to this exercise. So sometime down the road, maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 times down the way, I might come back to this, maybe 6 or 7 videos down the way. I just want to see if I can redo the exact same thing again while it's still in my mind, so that I can kind of get that more vibrant version of it. That being said, thanks very much for watching. If you're interested, you can drop a comment down below. I think I mentioned that before, but anything that you want to leave for me advice-wise would be fantastic. Any encouragement, also very much appreciated. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. David out.